So we find ourselves in a quite strange and bizarre period of time at the moment. Chances are you've been told to stay locked in your house and not go outside and see people. So you might as well make the most of the extra practice time. So the question is, if you've got time on your hands, what do you start working on? I think it's about time we worked on our time, and I mean that for me as much as anyone else, more so, if anything. Here's the thing, when people work on time, they usually just stick on a metronome and play stuff, and they play it, and then when it gets comfortable, they push the tempo up, play it a bit faster, and they think that that is working on their time. Here's the thing, your metronome is backwards if you do that. What we need to do is actually start slowing things down, start cutting tempos down and forcing ourselves to use more of our inner sense of time rather than relying on drum loops or metronomes or even other people to tell us where the time is. You need to know where the beat is. You shouldn't need a drummer to tell you where the time is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out, I'm going to play just a 2-bar groove which sounds suspiciously like the groove to James Brown's Licking Stick, one of my favourite grooves, but it's not. It's inspired by it, but didn't want to infringe copyright for once. So here's the thing most people do. They get a drum loop and they play the groove. So that's our groove. Maybe you might do that for 10-15 minutes, start playing fills if you get bored, and you think that that is sufficient to work in your time. The uncomfortable truth is it's not. Here's what we're going to do. You can think of that as level 1 of working on time. Level 2, again, this is what most people, this is as far as most people might get, is just having a metronome on at the tempo. So the tempo of that was about 80. Here's a click at 80. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Surely that's enough to work in your time, right? Well, I don't think so. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to take my original tempo of 80 beats a minute, I'm going to chop that in half. So now I have the option at 40 BPM of feeling that click on 1 and 3 or on 2 and 4. And as we all know, friends don't let friends clap on 1 and 3, so I'm going to stick it on 2 and 4 because that is where the groove is. So here we go, 40 BPM. I'm going to try playing the same thing, perceiving those clicks as being on beats 2 and 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So there I can already feel that I'm slightly rushing. My tendency is to feel like I always want to play ahead of the beat, which is something I'm trying my best to eradicate. Anyway, that already, even though we just chopped the tempo in half, I've only got 2 clicks in a bar rather than 4, already I have to provide much, much more of my own time to proceedings. So that's level 2, if you like, only having the click on 2 and a 4, and already it's challenging my inner clock. I'm going to go one step further. Chop it in half again, so we're now at the quarter of the original tempo. I'm going to be at 20 BPM. And here we go. I'm going to choose to feel the click on beat 1 to start with. And the key to succeeding in this and not falling flat in your face is to keep feeling the subdivisions internally. So I'm feeling the swing 16th notes that are going by even though they're not being actually played by anything. Okay? Already rushing. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. there, that was pretty horrible. That was pretty humbling to see that I need to practice that a whole lot more, because straight away I rushed that fill on the way in and I was way ahead of that beat. You can hear me flamming with the click almost constantly. So that's something to sit with. And a great way to do this, the way that I practice this, the way I should practice it a whole lot more, is just to play a static groove, 1 or 2 bars for like 10-15 minutes without stopping. No fills, no extra stuff, don't try and improvise. Play a groove that you know really well. Don't even try and read something off a page. It needs to be something that you know inside out, so you can really focus on the time. So we started out with click on every beat, chopped it in half, had it on 2 and 4, now we're down to single beats. So once you've got the hang of playing on beat 1, which I need to do some more work on, you can start changing your perception of where that click is in the bar. So if we start that again, I'm ahead of the tempo. So I want to start feeling that on beat 2 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's worth just getting yourself into the tempo, spending 20-30 seconds making sure you know where the time is. So 1, 2, 3. So within the space of about 30 seconds, that went from being fairly shameful to a little less shameful. Still a lot of work for me to do on that, but within that short time frame, my internal clock is already getting a bit of a workout. So I know what I'm going to practice for the rest of the day. Have a go at it yourself. Take a groove that you know, that you love, that you don't have to think about. We don't want any sort of technique or reading obstacles in the way. Just want to focus purely on time. Play that groove for like 15 minutes without filling at all. It's a good discipline. And progressively get rid of that metronome to challenge your internal clock.